What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about ways to make you a more resilient boxer. Are you dealing with those nagging, stupid injuries all the time in your wrist, in your forearm, in your neck maybe? You get concussions because you get hit over and over because your jab defense actually sucks. No, but in all seriousness, there are certain areas, especially in striking sports, that we can do some work in the gym to actually prepare you to do well in your practices and ultimately in your fights. And the first thing that you should be doing direct work on is obviously your neck. After adjusting for gender and sport, overall neck strength is a significant predictor of concussion. And for every 1 pound of increase in neck strength, the odds of concussion gets decreased by 5%. So it can make a huge difference for combat sport athletes, but obviously any type of contact sport, like think about football, rugby, where you need to tackle and you need to have a strong neck. Now, in striking sports, neck strength is obviously important in order to mitigate that risk when you're getting hit over and over. The neck can be trained isometrically, in flexion, in extension, in rotation. There's tons of different ways. You should train all planes of motions, and this can be done with body weight, with neck bridges, with external load, or one of my preferred methods, even with a partner that provides manual resistance. Right? And again, different directions. Could be just simple flexion extension, could be laterally resisting, like you could be working with an elastic band if you don't have a partner, where you basically walk out, increase the tension, and just hold it isometrically. There's tons of different variations to use, and you should incorporate some of that in your training. This can be done during your gym sessions, like as part of a superset with something else, or you do it at the end of practice with one of your training partners, and you spend 10, 15 minutes to make sure you keep your neck strength where it needs to be. Now, another area that can be quite vulnerable is the forearm and the wrist, especially in striking sports. So you should have a relatively strong grip. They've looked at, I think it was a study done in 2017, and they've looked at amateur boxers that competed internationally, and their grip strength, I believe on average, was around 58 kilogram force plus minus maybe 5 or 6. So if you have a grip dynamometer, just give it a try, test yourself. You might be surprised how weak your grip actually is. And luckily, there's lots of things you can do about it. Having strong grip, having a strong forearm, remember this part right here. If this is not stable whenever you hit your target, you can have the strongest core, lower body, trunk, all of those things that are important to deliver a strike. If the last implement that actually connects with the target is weak, you're leaving a lot of stuff on the table. You're leaving a lot of gains on the table. So we do want to make sure our forearms actually won't buckle whenever we hit the target. Now, there's many different ways we can go about training the forearms and the wrists. And one of my favorite ways to make them more resilient is also in form of a robustness circuit. There is going to be loads of different movements, maybe something like a pinch grip, potentially chin-ups done on a towel, something to condition the shoulders, like a battle rope, maybe something that's done for a long time as a finisher, kind of like a wrist roller, which you do for, after you finish your circuits. Maybe you do a wrist roller for 3 to 5 minutes as an ultimate burnout set to get a super pump in the forearms. There's tons of ways to go about it, but I typically select 6 to 8 different exercises and a work to rest ratio of 25 to 32 seconds of work for one exercise and 10 to 15 seconds of rest before I move on to the next drill. All right. And do about 2 to 3 rounds, maybe 1 to 2 minute rest in between the rounds. And you're going to blow up your forearms, your shoulders, basically all the vulnerable areas you can really, really train them and make them more and more resilient. And this type of work, don't neglect it. It's important. If you have training partners, do it together. It's always more fun if you can push each other and see who can get the most amount of work in. All right? You want to have a large variety. There can be some bodybuilding type of movements involved. Maybe you do something like a Zopman curl. Maybe you have just strict supine curls in there, grip switches, something that's explosive. Maybe you train your triceps with skull crushers. Literally, there's no limit to your imagination. Get creative, work hard, and then every 5 to 6 weeks, mix it up. Switch some of the exercises, introduce some new ones, keep it fun. Training doesn't have to be boring to make progress. Work hard and go after it. Get those gains.